Okay, hello everybody. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Hi
How are
everybody.
you?
Doing great, doing great. We are so excited for today's first educational workshop of the University of Ethereum. We are very excited today to kick off the first educational workshop. So today we have some very special guests. We are featuring the Vice Mayor of the City of Berkeley, Princess Sarah Culberson of Sierra Leone, and we're very excited to open your eyes to new ways to solve problems using blockchain tools. So quick overview of our session today. We're going to show you with Ben how to use blockchain bonds to help your community rapidly fund meaningful initiatives. So we'll be sharing some examples of how he's using bonds to drive change in the city of Berkeley, California. Ben's achievements in California may well become a model for city and state governments across the US. And Ben, then in our session today, will be joined by Princess Sarah Culberson to explore how blockchain bonds can accelerate access to clean drinking water, internet, power, and more in Sierra Leone. So we'll be diving into where traditional Web 2 systems have fallen short and how blockchain and Web 3 is driving positive social impact. So here at the University of Ethereum, we really believe in the philosophy of learn by doing. So today, I challenge each and every one of you listening to reflect on how you can make a tangible difference using the knowledge you'll gain today. Now let's dive in. Okay. So yeah, to introduce myself really quick, my name is Rachel. So I recently joined the University of Ethereum's team, and I'm so happy to be hosting these sessions. I'll be doing these every other week with my colleague Tina. She'll be on next week's sessions. And yeah, we're really excited today. The topic is going to be leveraging blockchain bonds for social impact. Specifically, we're going to focus on the micro and macro. So we'll be zooming in on the city of Berkeley and all of Ben's achievements and the work he's done in the city of Berkeley. And then we'll be zooming out for a global scope, right, for the Sierra Leone people. So I'm your moderator today, and we really created this session inspired by Ben Bartlett's work. So yeah, we're going to start with a moderated panel. The discussion will be the first part of this session, and then we'll move into the Q&A brainstorm and engage the broader audience. So as a reminder, this session today is recorded. This conversation is recorded. And if you're listening in Discord, if you have a question feel free to drop it in the general chat or raise your hand to ask it live. For follow-up questions, we don't get to, if this isn't addressed over Discord, we will be here for the following week to answer any questions with our expert and our guest, Princess Sarah, over the next week. So yeah, without further ado, I'll pass it off to Ben to give his presentation.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and good to see you, Princess Sarah. I'm really happy to be here. And thanks, Eureka John, and thank the whole University of Ethereum team. I'm curious about the University of Ethereum. I love it. What's the mascot? Is there a mascot?
I love that.
So I guess
if you don't have one, you got to get one. That would be great.
Right.
So short answer, it's our little Ethereum bird there. If you guys see the logo on the top right of our background there.
Okay. All right. I should retire here. So yeah. So I'm really here. Thank you. And I'm proud to be here with you, and really happy to share ideas and concepts, because the whole goal of what we're working on in Berkeley, I think, is also shared by your community, and that is financial inclusion and revolutions in money, and leveraging technology to create more prosperity for more people that are without it. You know, a number of years ago, it's 2016, we're in Berkeley, and we had 2 persons die on the street of exposure, and we became really concerned. And we knew that at this moment in time, we were on the precipice of something new. There's an increase in homelessness, and an increase in senior citizens becoming homeless, and families with children. And you see now, 7 years later, where we're at. California has 171,000 people homeless, and the country is following suit now. So we decided to, okay, well, let's make sure that we can care for these people. We can create affordable housing, create senior housing, homeless housing, etc. And it turned out that year there were massive corporate tax cuts being planned, and that's, without getting into the weeds, that's how we finance the development of affordable housing and senior housing, things like that, is through this corporate tax debt. And so when it's diminished, our developers of affordable housing warned us that it would be much harder and that the problem could get worse. So we decided to put our thinking caps on and go to the community and come up with some ideas to get around that problem. And what we came up with was a way to crowdfund the development of these assets. And so, and after much work and much socializing, we came up with a plan to issue bonds via blockchain. And the reason why is because the existing methods of capital raising, capital formation, and capital deployment have been good up to date for scale. We have built an entire country, a whole world, in this model of issuing debt or selling or borrowing money as a government from people. And however, at this point, the methods are centered on the wealthy and centered on the largest possible buyers and deployments. And so what's being left behind is everyone else. And we're not funding things that people need. So the point now, we have the average American on target to have a zero net worth in the next 30 years. And we have capital deficits from sewers to bridges to affordable housing to senior housing to education to healthcare to hospitals, everything underinvested for decades. And so this sort of dual-pronged problem of infrastructure loss and deficit and creeping scalar poverty led us to come with a solution that we could maybe solve for both at the same time. And I'm going to switch slides here. Yes, I love this one. Yes, financial inclusion is critical. And so if we could find a way to help ordinary people get a piece of these assets that were used by the government to rebuild itself and generate wealth for people who are outside the system, and at the same time create new facilities for everyone to enjoy, then we'd have something. And it's important to realize that in terms of municipal bonds, they're attractive because they're available to ordinary people. You don't have to be an accredited investor, and you don't have to be anyone special to own them. They're highly liquid, and they're available. However, they're priced at a minimum of $5,000, and they're hard to find. And the actual tradable chunk is no less than $250,000. So often much more than this. And they're bought by large players, that there's no opacity. There's opacity. We can't see what's going on, and the costs are embedded, and it leads to these inequitable results that we see in the streets today. So, going forward here. So in Berkeley, we decided to do a pilot program, and this is 7 years ago we decided this, and it's been in development this entire time. Although it took 3 years off due to the pandemic, it slowed everything down. But now it's coming out in the new year, January, February, I'm told. And so the city is going to issue these low-cost digital bonds. And when I say low cost, I mean $100, $60, $50, $40, $30, $25, even $1, because the technology allows that. Issue them to buy a fire truck. And fire trucks should cost around $3 million. And the fire truck be used for the community. And the people who buy the tokenized bonds, the micro bonds, will own a piece of this asset and this loan and get paid back. And so then the experiment, if it bears out, will be replicated and expanded. We're very excited about this. How does it work? So in this instance, and we're using Oracle for this, your audience, I think you understand Oracle, the Ethereum people here. Essentially, the city issues a microbond. It borrows money. It sends out an IOU with an interest rate, a competitive interest rate, and people buy them for a lower price. And this has been done before, but never at this small amounts, this microbond level. So the one buyer is a local resident, and there will be a geofencing, understand, for local people to buy these things first. And then over time, and also local businesses to buy them as well. So a local resident, local business, and then after the period of time we've had the locals have their shot at it, we release the geofence and allow the world at large to buy them and buy them. And so, and then when they hold these tokenized instruments, they will receive payments. And the interest on those payments can come in any form. They can come once a month, once a year, or come continuously, depending on what you choose. Because again, the technology is so flexible and dynamic, and you can take it in cash, or you can take it you can form some kind of community token around it. And this is one that people are excited about because the payment streams will be so small. If it's a small microbond, that we could actually make use of them. And the applicants to the RFP had all kind of interesting ideas about what to do with the small digital payments. They can become charity instruments, or for homeless people, or for kids. They can be incentives for good behavior at schools. They can be smart coupons for struggling local businesses. There's so many ways they can be deployed, and so we're excited to see what they come up with when they release this. Yes, and then going forward, we'll go to Woodstock, and then going forward, we'll expand into newer things. And so you can develop parks, you can. Neighbors can come together and use the platform that's developed to fix potholes. And of course, infrastructure, housing, affordable housing, and onward. And again, the benefits of the format that we deploy are, one, the tokenization of the bonds make it low cost. The smart contract makes it programmable. So the token can go where it's directed to. Let's say it's going to help a small business, it can be directed. The transparency element and the blockchain element makes it so that regulators can see real time who holds the bonds, what they're selling for, where it's going, what expenses are attached to it. If it's hacked or stolen, it can be destroyed and reissued. So there's a lot of interesting elements that come to play via the technology, and we're excited. And I want to say that since we authored this 7 years ago and passed it, it's been done in much larger scale overseas, and in Washington State they did a small one. I think they did a fire truck as well, and overall jurisdictions everywhere have either done large ones connected to banks or seeking to do this in their own jurisdictions once we prove it out. So really excited about this test case, and it's coming soon. Okay. So here we have some information here. Anyone in your classes, love to have intern with us, come work on it, come learn, love to have you help.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben. It sounds like there's so many incredible use cases. And yeah, a little bit of alpha. Ben is opening up an opportunity for any students for the University of Ethereum that want to get involved. I think particularly at UC Berkeley students would be interested in this. So I went ahead and dropped in our general chat on Discord for anyone watching the internship application form. So feel free to fill that out. And yeah, thank you so much, Ben. So yeah, next we are going to take it over to Princess Sarah. So Princess Sarah, I'm so grateful that you were able to come on today. I had the honor of meeting you back at ETH Denver 2 years ago now. And yeah, your story is so inspiring. The work that you're doing for Sierra Leone with Sierra Leone Rising. And I just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, share a little bit about your backstory, and maybe elaborate also on the challenges that the people of Sierra Leone are facing and how you got into blockchain technology.
Sure. So, hi everyone. It's great to be with all of you, and I'm very excited to be here. So, a little background is I'm adopted, grew up in an all-white family in West Virginia, and my birth father's from Sierra Leone, West Africa. My birth mother's a white American. And when I became an adult, I chose to go to Sierra Leone to meet my birth family in the tribe. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that my family ran a chiefdom of about 70,000. My uncle's now the president in the country, and we've been doing work in public health, education, technology, and female empowerment for the last many years in the country. And I went to Sierra Leone, met my family, met the tribe, and just kind of fell in love with the perseverance after an 11-year civil war that went on. And I thought, human beings coming together, working together to move things forward is so powerful. And I got very inspired, and we started our nonprofit called Sierra Leone Rising. And we started to learn about some of the issues around people needing help with public health, with clean drinking water, sanitary pads for girls, solar lanterns. So there were all these different things that started to be needed, and people having access to some type of monetary funds to help them with projects that they're working on that they could pay back, or creating that kind of world where everyone had access, not just a select few. So that's how I actually got interested in blockchain and the Web3 world, to learn how we could all be more connected, and only, rather than just having a certain few have access, but allowing all of us to be connected. So that's how it all started.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. It's definitely you've taken your story and transmuted it into such a visionary, impactful thing you're doing with Sierra Leone Rising. I also saw on the website that you're creating educational programs for young girls to code in Sierra Leone, which is so amazing.
Yes. We've actually been
cool.
working with different students on that, which is really exciting.
That's amazing. And I really want to just bridge the two topics here. So Ben Bartlett has done a lot of work on blockchain bonds and kind of brainstorming how it can be used to, act as a public good, right? And help solve critical infrastructure problems. So really the conversation today, I'd really like to explore how blockchain bonds can be used to help solving challenges that Sierra Leone is facing. And Princess Sarah, I know you mentioned that clean drinking water is a huge issue out in Sierra Leone, and raising funds to build wells out there as well.
Yes, that's something that we're definitely working on, and just creating an infrastructure where the whole country has access to clean drinking water, which is a very big conversation. But we're starting it working with a lot of different groups, and I think this is a wonderful place to explore that possibility as well.
Yeah, so I'll pass it off to Ben, because I know Ben has some relevant experience in this area, and might be able to speak to some ideas that he has for bringing more access to clean drinking water through implementing blockchain bonds.
Well, I want to say, Princess Sarah, I watched the news story about you, and you're so inspiring. And, to see interacting with you here in person is really, it's amazing, great feeling. And I'm so grateful that you're giving back and just transforming the experience to something positive. And you're exactly right. So the Earth is getting hotter and more crowded, and they're saying that in the same time frame, interestingly enough, that the average American would have a zero net worth. About half the world, or 40% of the world, would be without fresh water. And so you combine, this lack of water, lack of wealth, and that's a breakdown. People on the move. You see that now people pouring across the national borders here and in Europe in search of better life and resources. This is a matter of global security and really just life. Water is life. And so it's funny, when we came up with this project, this process, we envisioned that ultimately, if it worked, it could be used to crowdfund on a global basis large-scale water infrastructure and desalination plants and titanic plants around the world to turn the deserts green and to keep the water flowing. And so it's interesting that that we would meet here tonight in this way. For your situation in a country that has energy needs and water needs together, it's interesting. It'd be an interesting play to combine the two. And in terms of wells, you have there's a number of charities out there like the Engineers Without Borders. There's the USAID WASH program, and a few others. You mentioned, I think, on an earlier call, drip by drip. What was it?
Drop for drop.
Drop for drop, right? These are excellent groups in deploying good resources and doing the work. And it'd be great if there was a way to sort of create a tokenomics, if you will, like an economics circulation that creates wealth for people and water at the same time. And so there's a lot of resources to work with in your country. It's incredibly rich. The minerals there are what's fueling the modern world. Everything we need is there, and it's everywhere, right? So I imagine there's a way to maybe sell a microbond to people or to crowdfund in this way the development of say a community artisanal mine, a community mine that's owned by the community in a certain place, certain area, certain pocket, a certain village, certain area, and that mine employs everybody. They work on it. They make clothes for it, security, landscaping, mining itself, and selling and marketing. And there's water at play because water is useful for mining, and there's energy at play because mines need energy. So solar power and things like that connected to it to drive it and make it efficient for its lifetime before the mine collapses, which they do over a certain amount of time, 7 years for some, 15 to others, or 1 for a really small artisanal mine. And so letting the financing of the mine, the community mine, build water wells with multiple pumps for people, and that ecosystem sort of captured in a digital format to the capital flows through the crypto, if you will, and just digital bonds, what they call it, crypto, just the digital instruments, relaying the value chain back and forth from that instrument with sort of a targeted release or event-based funds released, so it happens in stages. And I think something like that would sort of be the macrocosmic effort that what we're doing here, because you're creating value chains, and so people are working, getting wealthy, and having water, and so forth, and fueling their own economic growth, and that becomes something that could really change the course of history.
And that's something that's really needed, right? Having that different way of looking at things rather than giving money to just keep giving and then people become reliant on that. How can that shift? And I think that's another reason we are talking about this conversation as well, which I love.
Yeah, there's been there's a great disconnect with wealthy philanthropists and wealthy do-gooders, where what feels good to them ultimately is proving to be not beneficial to the recipient. You mentioned the being addicted to aid and not learning to fish, just eating fish that's thrown at you, And that dependency has proven destructive in this country where we live, in other countries around the world. So I think that the future demands that we really get to the root of poverty, which is the absence of wealth creation. And all 70 years of aid, we see the metrics. It's not moving the needle because at the end of the day, no one is in control of the resources, no one is in control of their labor, and the tools to sustain yourself and your family have to be grasped and in a cooperative fashion deployed. I think that has to happen.
I completely agree. And I think more NGOs getting to understand more about this, about Web3 and about the bonds and what could be possible would be a wonderful thing to have that happen.
Yeah, and the good news is that the agencies have been exploring this and piloting things like this through the years for identity for aid and things like that, and also ways to prevent child labor in certain places. There's a number of blockchain-based grants out there that have been happening through the years. So I've been tracking them, so I see what's
wonderful.
Right.
Are there very many? Like how? Do you know like a percentage roughly? And you don't have to know those. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. They come up a lot. I get the alerts. I get the alerts and they come up. And so my friends apply for them, and my friends work on them, and I've been involved in some. And then in the what we call the Burning Man people call the default world, the normal world. I have close associates who do development. And economic development in Africa around this exact issue: water, energy, minerals, and for the people. So it'd be great to marry real life processes with this digital efficiency and ability to scale. So that's the beauty of the crowdfunding and mobile phones. You could make the call, through your followers. You can make the call and issue a note. Hey, come help us and come invest in the community mind to people around the world, and they can just buy it right there online, and the smart contract works it out, officiates it, and gets the interest rates paid to them, and it manages the whole process. And you just have your trusted intermediary there, someone in the village, some elder and some person there, a little organization that runs the community mind together, a little governance board, and you have something that's really doable and scalable.
Yeah, this is when I feel like there's another conversation bringing in my brother who's a lawyer who runs our nonprofit arm on the ground in Sierra Leone.
Wow.
And and he's also been helping with all the coding and all the projects and so on. And I think he would be very excited to be a part of this conversation to see what could be created and generate jobs and so on for people. So I think that would be incredible, this conversation for them. Yeah,
that's amazing.
So that's the next part of this. And in addition to people who are here listening, your input, your thoughts are definitely appreciated. It takes a village, right? We don't do anything in this lifetime on our own, and your thoughts are appreciated as well.
Yeah, and the Ethereum world computer is perfect for this.
Yeah.
So
yes, the Ethereum virtual.
Yes. I'm still learning. I have to say, I'm constantly still learning. My dad always says, never stop learning.
We're all still learning here together. Absolutely.
Yeah, nonstop.
Yes.
Yeah. In the 7 years since we created this and been waiting for it to happen, we've gone through 5 hype cycles. I've become a father. There's a whole new world. I don't even know what's going on anymore. There's AI now.
Yeah,
right.
Crypto years work differently.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
They do. So it's always learning, and I'm learning a lot right now from you and you, Rachel, too. It's really exciting. Yeah.
Well, I'm learning a lot from you too, Ben. I really appreciate just both of you stepping up to be here. You've both been so proactive with the planning stages of this. So thank you both so much. And just to kind of circle back on the philosophy of the University of Ethereum, right? We're really focused on learning by doing, right? Like we want to help our students have the knowledge to actually build and create solutions like this. So I'm really excited to see this conversation move forward in the next week in our Discord. And yeah, just continue asking questions. For anyone listening, add your questions in our general chat on Discord. I have a couple already teed up for Princess Sarah and Ben. But yeah, keep them coming if you have any questions. So yeah, I guess to wrap up that conversation, Princess Sarah, are there any other kind of critical infrastructure needs that you think could be addressed with blockchain technology?
Infrastructure needs. So, I mean, there's a lot inside of infrastructure, but different groups have been taking that on, which has been wonderful within the country. And I think we've kind of been tasked with looking at the water conversation. So that's really the main conversation. I mean, there are other groups that are working on the road infrastructure and that kind of conversation, so people can even get places to sell their goods and so on. But really, it's around the water and learning how we can make that happen. And Ben, I didn't thank you for sharing what you shared. I didn't know that the water in how many years did you say, like, the world will be at a loss for water due to global warming, I'm assuming?
Yeah, in mismanagement and population growth, right, and use, I think, and also farming, right, big ag uses a lot of water. Cows, really. Yeah, I think I threw that number. I threw that out a lot 5 years ago. I would say 35 years from now. So I read that somewhere. So
that's not very long.
Something like that.
Yeah. Wow.
But don't quote me to the
35 years
T,
from now.
okay? Don't do a smart contract on it. Just right around then. Yeah, not good. And that's breakdown, right? That's breakdown. Right. And when you have that level of poverty and lack of water, no one's going to sit there and starve or sit there and die of thirst. They're going to go where there was water. So the conflicts will be huge. The
fighting over water rather than other things.
Exactly.
Natural resources.
Syria was a huge one, right? That was about water. One group was holding the water back from another, so they fought, and then it was on, and it's been on ever since. It's just strange because we live in a world made of water, right? So it's a real, very interesting position to be in psychologically, to know that you're surrounded by water, but you're going to die of thirst. So, let's reject that and let's make the water happen.
Yeah, I love that.
I think these are really, really critical conversations to have. And I just really love seeing, in the blockchain space, right, in the Ethereum ecosystem, we're starting to focus more on this, right, like actually making an impact with this technology. So these are the conversations that I live for. I absolutely love this, like seeing actual positive change being implemented from this technology. So we actually have some questions coming in. We have a question on Discord, and we had some student members ask some questions. So yeah, I will go ahead and read this one that just came in from Monopool. So Monopool says, these projects require collaborative efforts between local government officials and community leaders. How did you overcome hurdles in convincing officials and community members to embrace the implementation of blockchain-driven projects instead of sticking to the traditional implementations and processes? Additionally, leveraging blockchain technology, sorry, it's a long question, for critical infrastructure projects like wells, Wi-Fi, and housing. How do you envision overcoming potential regulatory challenges and ensuring a supportive framework to facilitate these initiatives on a wider global scale? What lessons can be drawn from those experiences?
Did GPT write that question?
No, a very intelligent human wrote that question.
we got our students. We got our students live asking questions.
I love it. Well, thank you. I'm assuming that's geared to me. It's a great question. One of the things with regard to, this is the beginning, kind of the genesis of really bringing the world of blockchain and Ethereum to what we're doing in Sierra Leone. So we're just starting the conversations. This and having family inside of how do we get things to move. I think one of the things that happens in developing countries is a lot is who's running things, how are things happening. But having my family on the ground who runs one of the largest chiefdoms in Sierra Leone, has access to the government and runs a portion of the government is a big way that we're going to be able to move this forward. And that doesn't always happen that way. So I get that that's kind of a privilege in this situation that we're in. I'm grateful for it. But that's kind of the way we're starting this, by talking to family members, talking to community leaders, and just beginning the conversations.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And Ben, I'm curious to hear like how you've overcome similar hurdles like that.
Yeah, it's just like the princess said, a lot of conversations. And in that era, it was in the ICO days, so there was a bit of a clamor and interest in it. But everyone thought that we were going to be releasing some sort of cryptocurrency or the dark web or something. or Bitcoin, instead of understanding that it's just a way to distribute something quickly. And so we had to educate, and we leveraged all our partners in the community, and we also had the need. And so this takes us back to what you're saying, Rachel, getting your students to focus on actual use cases for the world, because technology's purpose is to help humans do things and to accomplish goals to make life better. Its purpose is to make life better. And so much of the blockchain industry is around wealth capture. So now there's what they call the Gini coefficient, worse than normal money, right? And Gini coefficient is a metric of inequality. So now crypto wealth is worse than dollar wealth. So something has gone wrong, because they're just focused on short-term gain and valueless gain. And so leveraging and keeping with the promise that was in the Bitcoin white paper that launched all this, a true financial revolution and true financial inclusion, I think requires us to really get back to the purpose of technology and the purpose of money, which is to be enriching to more and more people and to create a healthy new form of life. So, when you have creeping poverty and growing numbers of people on the street, when the average age of a homeless person is 62 years old, in the so-called richest country and richest state in the world, that gave it an energy, and that gave it a purpose, and that helped community buy in. And the other elements, it could be fun for kids, it could help homeless people, it could be used for charity, all those elements, and help people change the structure of their community by investing in something like potholes on the street. It's so hard for us to fund pothole filling. It's so expensive at the government level. We have to do large plans with many streets, and it takes years and $100 million. And if neighbors could just come together and do it themselves for 3 blocks, that would be a tremendous boost to democracy and economic democracy. So those elements are attractive for people, and just lots of conversations, lots of persuasion, and lots of humor to make it happen. But it did happen.
Absolutely. And something you said, Ben, that I think is really important too is kind of eliminating any false narratives surrounding cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, and actually showcasing how it can be used for good and actually be used to help people. I also want to note we have some students that are joining that want to come up and ask questions live. So I'm going to be adding our student members, starting with Sharon. So welcome, Sharon, from the University College Cork.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello, I'm Sharon, and I'm so excited to represent University College Cork, Ireland. And currently my friends and I are involved in projects concerning animal shelters and education for women, especially in underdeveloped areas. So we are aspire to use blockchain bonds to seek sustainable and valuable solutions. So I'd like to ask Princess Sarah this question. Your story is so impressive. So as an ambassador for blockchain technology and also a philanthropist, what do you think are the main challenges in implementing blockchain to enhance transparency and accountability in charitable activities? And also, how can these issues be effectively addressed? Yeah, thank you.
So I think that's a wonderful question. I think when the way things run, and I can of course speak in the tribe and the community in Sierra Leone only, but when we do anything, everyone sits down together. There's a whole community conversation. So I almost feel like blockchain would be easy in some way to implement. I love the word easy. We'll see what that means. But to really implement, to have, because everyone sits down together, the conversations start, and they have different folks from different community tribes start talking about how things could actually move. So I think that that's one of the first steps in moving forward, making sure all the different voices are heard, and having someone like, and I mentioned my brother because he's been doing a lot of work in technology. He's in his early 30s, and growing up in Sierra Leone, he's very connected to the Western world and the globe as a whole. So I think he also introducing it to a lot of the community as someone who grew up there his whole life, part of the community, him understanding it and being able to create teams that can then share. I think that's one of the ways we can get out and get more people on board to do this. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I saw lots of inputs. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Sharon, for coming up and participating today. I'm going to bring up our next student member, Harsha.
Hi guys. So my name is Harsha. I'm the founder of Metana. It's a Web3 coding school, and we are based out here in Sri Lanka. So, and I'm proudly leading the ECU Colombo youth chapter. So through Metana and all the other founding members, our goal is to create 8 more UE chapters here in Sri Lanka from all different types of universities, private and government and all this stuff. So my question is a bit tricky, because here in Sri Lanka, we have a very low tech penetration, and people are very skeptical towards the blockchain technology. So as ambassadors, it's our primary responsibility to foster a stronger foundation towards this innovative blockchain tech in people's mind, right? So how do you recommend to get overcome these barriers? What strategies or initiatives you have seen in other places that have successfully overcome these kind of challenges, follow through, or to build trust in blockchain? I mean, yeah, especially in regions like in Sri Lanka, where very limited tech adoption. So that's my question.
Is that for Ben? Ben, do you want to answer that, or do you want?
Sure. I mean,
go for
basically, how do you achieve penetration in a low technology environment, right?
Yeah.
So what I've seen is to the great effect is in Africa and also Latin America, the alignment with mobile phone banking. So many of the world's underbanked and unbanked, in America as well, they're using payments processes and banking processes on the mobile phones. And so that's why we have a great adoption in those 2 countries for this technology, because they're used to operating on the phone and moving value around on the phone. So if you can leverage the phone-based banking mindset and add to it and add value to that and make that easier, reduce fees or enable people to lend each other money to do things or what have you, I think that will drive itself for people to self-adopt, because they hear it, but they'll see a value in doing it. right? And also, I want to say just also, NFTs have gotten a bad rap and they misaligned. I think during the pandemic, NFTs became some crazy investment thing, which is really interesting. But there's also just the fact that there's fun little trinkets that you can send around each other. And so in Asia, in India, and other places, just the NFT, the little colorful item, is a fun thing to get people to play around with and give their friends and share around, and that can get people into developing technology and coming with new use cases, et cetera. So there's also just getting people to have fun with these little trinkets, NFTs, but not be trying to invest in them, just have fun with them. Okay.
Thank you very much for the answer, Ben. Like, it's like very, very, very a thoughtful answer. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, and keep it up, and keep it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Harsha, for coming up. And thank you for actually coming up and participating as a UETH member today. We appreciate you. All right. I'm going to add Nicholas Chain up next. Bye, Harsha. Hi, Nicholas. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you
Doing
guys
good.
for joining us today. So I'm Nick. I'm representing New York University Stern School of Business. And this past summer, I had experience working at a firm that focused on alternative investments, including municipal bond infrastructure projects, specifically in wind and solar. So with the U.S. goal to go carbon net zero by 2050, and Sierra Leone's goal to reduce carbon emissions by 25% by 2050, I would like to ask both panelists. So with the use of cryptocurrency mining and the use of blockchain, there's a significant environmental impact. So given the benefits of the blockchain projects themselves, have you considered the ethical bounds of crypto implementation with environmental sustainability and ensuring responsible energy consumption?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Ben, I think I'd love for you to start with that.
Yeah. So absolutely, Nicholas. Absolutely. So that's a great question. And so there's a few things to keep in mind, right, before we get to the current state of affairs. One, the energy use of money, right? Let's take a quarter. It comes from a mine, horrible conditions, child labor, incredible energy, incredible water wasting. A dollar bill or any paper currency, trees, clear cutting, etc. Credit cards, massive processing. So it's a bit of an unfair comparison because money itself is like that. However, though, you're right, and without wanting to add to that, that's why we took our time here in Berkeley, at least, for the industry to catch up with what we need, and that's frictionless, clean transfer technology. And that's where we are now. Many of the new blockchains, including Ethereum, are now energy. What's the line? Energy net zero almost. So the proof of stake, the transition to proof of stake, reduce energy to near nothing. Many other blockchains as well are also supremely clean energy. The old model of energy intensity is around proof of work, and that was making these computers do all these crazy algorithms just to process a transaction. That mode of security is now behind us for the most part, except for Bitcoin. And we're not proposing Bitcoin. And even Bitcoin itself has now developed a platform to build on that's tangential to it and connected to it, that is not energy intensive. So good question. And the answer is that it's not a problem anymore.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, Princess Sarah, do you have any thoughts or comments you want to add to that? Okay.
I think Ben
awesome.
nailed
So
it.
I don't see any other students that have come up to ask questions. So Ben, I have my own question that I'd like to ask you. So in our conversations prepping for this workshop, we talked a little bit about tokenomics. So what would need to be figured out pertaining to tokenomics to enable solutions like enacting blockchain bonds to help with more access to clean drinking water, or solving critical infrastructure needs for a city? And is that something that students can work towards building?
Yeah, this is a great project for students, and there are things that are out there they can reference and build upon as well. And the composability of the way blockchain is developed is really useful to enable it to stack like Lego blocks to make this thing happen. Because in this instance, you're talking about a wallet that is easy to use, that can be given to someone that has UX that does not require the 12 keyword, where you lose it and you lose everything. Abstraction, right? This abstraction of the wallets and things like that. So we need a wallet with permissions and special permissions that can interact with real-time information coming into it to release funds according to certain events. You would need a smart contract that can take in money and then deploy it, and then upon certain conditions send some back to user A, if you will, according to a certain ratio until their amount is paid off. You would need what's something like an oracle, some ability to take in information about what happens, to then make decisions, and make these decisions seamless and easy to operate. And you would need a portal for non-blockchain persons to view what's happening in real time, like a dashboard, so you can see what's happening, and the transparency element. And you would need the ability to track each token, if you will, each tokenized bond. And in the case of a hacking or a losing, to destroy and reissue. So those are the key circle of things you need. You need Oracle, you need the smart contract to handle the payment distributions. You need a smart wallet that can be the master wallet holder, connected to the wallets of the project and the investors, and the recipients as well. So imagine the master wallet as a central point with investor wallets on one side and recipient wallets on the other, with an information portal attached to it, and the ability to have to create linkages with a real-time entity to provide the information and verify the information, and with again to have multiple people approve the conditions of payment release.
I think that was a very very thorough answer. And what I would like to see moving forward is just our student members engaged and actively discussing solutions and how we can build solutions like these. So I'm thinking moving forward in our Discord over the next week, we should actively engage with students and kind of talk about like maybe the step-by-steps that you were just discussing, and actually being there as a support system for them in creating things they want to build. So we have our regional events, right? The events happening locally that the students are putting on. And then we have our international event happening next year, EdCon in Tokyo. So hopefully we can encourage students to build solutions that will actually create a real world impact, and provide support over the next 7 days and actively engage with them and talk with them about the steps.
So exciting.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm excited to see what your minds think of and create. I know it'll be awesome.
Yeah, so for those listening, feel free. We are getting into the last 10 minutes here. So feel free to drop any closing thoughts, any questions, if you'd like me to share with the panelists today. I have my eye on the general chat now, so I don't see any more questions. But if you think of anything, feel free to drop them there. Okay, so we are getting to the last 10 minutes here. So Ben and Princess Sarah, if we could quickly recap, what is the path for students to get more involved with you, with your projects? And we can start with Ben if you want to highlight the internship.
Sure. So in Berkeley, we are pursuing a number of initiatives that require some smart new thinking in the realm of healthcare, in the realm of finance, in the realm of culture, even in arts. And particularly with the microbond project as it rolls out, when the vendor does the project. It's going to be really interesting to see what the ancillary use cases are and the tracking of it, and to help the city have a good view on what's happening. So I'd love to have your support on that with your skill sets perfect for this. So reach out to, there's a form, I think, somewhere. Jump on that, fill it out, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Ben Bartlett, LinkedIn.
Yeah, and for those listening right now on Discord, in our general chat, I'm dropping that application. So calling our students from UC Berkeley, if you want to seize this opportunity, it's there on Discord. The application is there. Okay, awesome. So Princess Sarah, if we can just offer any closing thoughts, ways for the students to connect with you, to get involved, and maybe you can talk as well about SierraLeoneRising.org.
Yes, our nonprofit is called Sierra Leone Rising, and you can find it at sierraleonerising.org. And you can reach out to us. We have someone who's in charge of connecting students and different educators on projects. So you can reach out to Jennifer Klein on there and talk about your interest, or if you have different ideas of how we can get involved with you or you with us with our projects that we're working on. We would love your input. Also, you can reach me on all the social media platforms, also LinkedIn. And I put my Facebook, Instagram, all those wonderful things. It's at IAM Princess SC, which is in my signature line there as well. So there are plenty of different ways to connect, and SierraLeoneRising.org would be great as well. But I'd love you to follow me, and I can follow you back, because sometimes you might just have a quick question. And I might not be on Discord all the time because I'm traveling. I'm actually just landed in Nebraska this morning from New York. So I'm traveling a lot, but I'm often on social media a lot to answer quickly, and then Jennifer Klein to answer for our foundation work as well. So we'd love to be connected with you.
Absolutely. And something I'll say in regards to Princess Sarah, she's very responsive. She's such a busy person, always working on creating positive change. But the way she's so humble and responsive, I absolutely love. So thank you, Princess Sarah, so much for joining today. And we have about 5 minutes left here. So I want to just open this up to any parting words of wisdom from both you, Ben, and you, Princess Sarah.
Well, the first thing that just comes to my head is I love when people have ideas and you don't necessarily know how to do them, but you get to come together with wonderful minds to figure out how to do it. Because I think so often we think, oh, well, I need to figure it out on my own, and then, well, I don't know how to do it, so I won't move forward. But I just want to say all the work that I've been working on, whether it was writing a book that I co-wrote with a writing partner that we're working on turning into a movie, or creating an animation for kids, or working on having people learn about cultures around the world, or anything, and our work in Sierra Leone around clean drinking water, it came from a bunch of people coming together with ideas. So this is such an incredible hub where you are right now to brainstorm and get to know each other to create incredible things that can impact the world. So I'm so excited for all of you. You don't have to know it all, just collaborate, and all of your brains together will create great things. And there may be others within your community and in your countries, wherever you're coming in from, that could also be a huge support in this journey. They might not just be in this world, but they might be outside in your communities as well, to bring them on board for this journey. So go after it.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, that is clap
That was great.
right there.
That was great. That was great. I want to read this book. That's awesome. Very inspiring. Yeah. And so, I mean, all I would say is to young people here, it's imperative that you don't back down, and that you take on the challenge of the future. And it's not your fault that the generations before you have not planned for you. All over the world, there's a shortage of everything, and all the people got when the getting was good, and now you have to pay more for everything, including housing, you name it. It's not fair. It's not right. And for the first time since World War II, we have a declining number of democracies in the world, a rise of authoritarianism, a rise of conflict internally and externally with countries, as we see every day. And that is because the resources have been captured and the money is not flowing. So it is your duty to make sure the future is better than this past that we're living in now. So take it on and be tough.
You got this. And
Yeah.
we're here with
Wonderful words
you.
of wisdom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful words of wisdom. Again, Princess Sarah and Ben, I'm just so honored you were able to come on today and provide all this education to our students. I feel like this is what the ethos of Web3 and blockchain is really about, right? Solving problems, making life better for people on our planet. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining. And any students watching live, thank you so much for being a part of the University of Ethereum and for actively being engaged.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, we're at the end of the hour here. So thank you so much for joining again. And yeah, over the next week, we'll be happy to answer any questions on Discord for those who want to get more involved.
Awesome. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you
Thanks,
all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.